Hello, boys and girls. You're listening and watching to Peter Talks Smackdown. Now, depending on how you're consuming this right now, if you're on YouTube, understand that there are other ways to consume this if you're on the go. There's Stitcher Radio, there's iTunes, and then there's SoundCloud. All you have to do is Google Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. WRASSLIN'. You will get all of the options in Google. Again, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and iTunes. You can listen to those at any moment you want. We get I give you 4 weekly uploads, except for one. YouTube exclusively, I have this thing called Peter's Raw Recap. So right after Raw, I'll record a recap of it and just give you my take on it. That Monday, the New Day podcast is me and Nathan Newman. It's called the New Day podcast because my last name is Day. His last name is Newman. New Day. And then you have the flagship of all this, Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. That's every Wednesday. Me, the homie Jake Grandy from the Faster Than the World podcast, where he reviews NXT. We're here every Wednesday having a conversation about not only Raw, but things that are happening in wrestling. And then you have this, which is Peter Talks Smackdown. Again, I DJ, and I used to be able to upload this by at least Friday, but because I'm DJing on Thursdays now, I can't get these to you until Saturday. So I apologize. I hope we can make this adjustment real smooth. And then for those who are interested, I have another thing that I like to call Peter Talks Wrestling With. So if you're listening to this and you want to just sit at one day, like just hit me up and we talk a little bit of wrestling, whatever promotion you check out, how you feel about certain things that are happening in WWE, ROH, or New Japan, or TNA, just hit me up. PJTW Central. That is my Twitter. Again, that's PJTW Central. Just hit me up there. Say, hey, man, I'd like to talk some wrestling. We'll talk for about an hour and then just throw it up on a Sunday. All right? And without further ado, let's go ahead into this SmackDown. And this week's SmackDown is from Albany, New York. And I will say this, just like last week, is something about the entertainment part of the WWE, the E part, that's becoming more and more noticeable with its programming. Now, I'm not saying that before you weren't dealing with like storylines on SmackDown as much as, say, Raw, but you had the programming itself was more like shit talking than shit talking and wrestling more than actual storylines. The storylines were on Raw, and then they sort of came over to SmackDown, and they would sort of it would sort of tie things together to a certain extent. And then you had, when there was a brand split, you had people that were just exclusively on SmackDown, but since they kind of ended it, they still had this sort of transition, from people to Raw to SmackDown, and they would sort of continue their storylines, but it would be more wrestling. This is like the wrestling product, not necessarily the storyline. The storylines you would probably get if you're watching and they throw in like the Raw Rebound or something, and they would show like what happened on Raw and sort of tie in some ends. But now it's just straight up, and I would say for the past 3 weeks, even more so with like silly, wacky storylines. And this week was no different than last week, where it was just the Kane and and Seth Rollins story that's going on right now. And I don't know if it's like, if I'm the only one that feels this way, but like our world champion in this capacity is kind of lame. And that this is very, I don't want to say similar. Yeah, I'll say similar to the CM Punk reign. This is a mid-card storyline. This is a total mid-card storyline. Even though it's a main storyline, it comes off as a mid-card storyline because it's just a little too wacky for me to invest in, to really pay attention to. And I'm just ready for their match at Hell in a Cell to just take place for that championship so we can move forward. I know that Seth Rollins still has his reign still ahead of him, and this is nothing more but filler until he meets back up with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. But it will not be the main event of WrestleMania. Anything Brock related, anything Rock related, will probably, or Undertaker to that extent, will be the main event of WrestleMania. So that's what we dealt with in this episode. And it started off with a Raw recap may as well. Because you know how they have the intros. And just like last week, another super long, like 3-minute like video package before actually getting into the Raw theme, the SmackDown theme. And then, that was talking about what happened Monday with Seth Rollins and Kane and the evaluation and the meltdown that Seth had when he just beat the living shit out of Kane with a chair, and how Kane came back as the Demon Kane and this, that, and the other. But it starts off, SmackDown starts off another week with Seth Rollins. There was one point where Seth was opening both Raw and SmackDown, but he's doing more SmackDown openings than Raw. Because if you could pay attention last 2 weeks of Raw, you had the brawl between the Wyatt family and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Not Seth Rollins, sorry about that. Dean Ambrose. And then last week, you had John Cena with the U.S. Open Challenge, which delegates Seth Rollins to open on SmackDown. So I'm thinking, hell, man, he's more of a SmackDown guy than he is Raw, honestly. Because I think he has more opening spots on SmackDown than anything he's ever done. But, like, he comes out and he just shoots on Kane about what happened last week. And then, that Monday. And then he calls him out. It's like, get your ass out here. Because you're crazy. And I'm not buying into this you don't know what's going on shit. So Kane comes out on crutches. And they go back and forth. And he talks, because it's all about product placement. And this promo between the two of them was about promoting this Saturday's match for the U.S. Championship. This is Seth Rollins versus John Cena this Saturday at the MSG show. Well, today on the MSG show. I'm not going to be able to watch it live because, again, Saturday nights I DJ. So I'll probably end up watching it tomorrow and give tomorrow an actual review of the MSG show. But that's what that was. And then Kane announces the main events, which is tagging him up with the New Day and versus the Dudleys and the Demon Kane. Now, Rollins only accepts to do this. That, like, he has, I guess, as a champion, he has the option to opt out, I guess, all of a sudden. But he's like, well, check this out, motherfucker. Because you're trying to play games. Now, I will only accept this matchup if you, Corporate Kane, or whatever Kane you are sitting ringside. And Kane sits there for a sec. He's like, I wouldn't miss it for the world. And he, just hobbles away on his crutches. I imagine Kane also has a job working at the IHOP. Okay. The next segment we get is Team Bella, which is Brie and Nikki and Alicia Fox versus Team Bad. Now, the turmoil right now in the Divas division is dealing with Paige and where Paige stands with that 3-girl faction. And Team Bad, we haven't even seen them in a while. I would say for the past 2 weeks or so. And Team Bella, Nikki Bella is without the championship right now, so they're just sort of floating around. So we just get this sort of random 6 diva tag team. I guess this is going to show up on Monday, next Monday. We'll see. But it's pretty insignificant. It's just a match, right? There's no storyline between these two. It's more or less PCB and Team Bella and Paige and Natalya. And yeah, Team Bad is sort of sitting on the outside, even though they got like probably the hottest commodity in the WWE promotion, which is Sasha Banks. I think she's hot commodity, and I guess we're gonna have to just wait it out. If you're a fan, you gotta have to just wait this out until possibly Survivor Series, maybe Royal Rumble, or maybe even after WrestleMania, because I think they're not done with Nikki Bella's storyline yet, and the placeholder Charlotte Flair, she's going to have to hold on to that belt for a while. But until they clear up this whole Paige, Nikki Bella, Charlotte Flair thing, Sasha Banks is just on the outside looking in. And that's the cruel reality. After Team Bella gets to the ring, Team Bad itself cuts a promo on top of the ramp about who and what started the Divas Revolution. And they go on and on. But it's Sasha Banks that actually gets more talking time on the mic, and she did a really good job. Again, hottest commodity on the roster right now. She's going to have more time to develop, which I think is a good thing. I mean, right now, the average fan is like, I like this person, give him or her the championship now. Actually, it's almost like a backup quarterback, almost like a rookie quarterback. Right now you got these rookie quarterbacks or second-year quarterbacks in the NFL, and they're thrown out there to the wolves to like just win games, and they have basically just thrown in there because they get so much money. And it's not like our patience were thin. It's not like they have the option of like the Aaron Rodgers and the Tom Brady's where they sit behind somebody for like 2-3 years and then get out there and show their ass and win championships versus them going in as rookies. So I look at this Sasha Banks. If she's on the outskirts looking in to this Divas division and when she's going to get the title, and she uses that time to develop not only on the road with WWE live events, what she's still doing with NXT, which I still think she shouldn't be on NXT, but nevertheless, and her shots on Raw, that she is given the time to develop more and more. So let's just say she gets thrown into like a main angle after WrestleMania. She's had all this time to just develop the Sasha Banks character. Let's just say Team Bad breaks up and she goes into a program with Naomi. Naomi's no jabroni. I love Naomi. And they're both excellent wrestlers. So if you actually get like a program between the two of them on the outskirts, not dealing with what they're doing over there with Paige and Charlotte and stuff, you're gonna see something special with Sasha. That's all I'm saying. So I'm glad that she's gonna have that time to develop. And that promo was really amazing. The match itself wasn't that bad. Again, I'm becoming like a Nikki Bella fan, and her wrestling ability is something, and her ring IQ. And I don't care if if you're listening and you're like, you don't know what you're talking about. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm talking about it, and I feel comfortable talking about it. But Sasha Banks get the hot tag, and she ends up putting Nikki Bella in the bank statement after Nikki Tamina distracts Nikki Bella as like she's running in to to basically stop her from putting a rack attack on Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks escapes the rack attack and puts Nikki Bella in the bank statement, causing her to tap out as she's looking for. Sorry about that. As she's looking for Bree to come save her, but she doesn't, so she taps out. Again, a good showing by Sasha Banks, and we'll see how she does moving forward. We get the New Day and Seth Rollins backstage, and I swear to God, I wouldn't mind like a little program with the New Day where you have heels that want to tag with them, because anytime they're thrown into a situation where they have to tag up with someone else, like another heel, they will get that heel hype. Whoever the fuck is, like, who was it? Rusev, like 2 weeks ago. This week is Seth Rollins. And they're just like, you're the man, you the man, you the man, Seth Rollins. And Seth is just like, he's like, I'm not trying to hear this bullshit. But then when they're just like, but you're awesome. It's about being positive. Yeah, you got Kane on your ass, but like, you're the man. Stay positive. You're the man. And to the point where Seth Rollins is just like all about it. Ain't no pep talk that Stephanie McMahon or Triple H have given that kid to the level of the New Day. And now if you're like a heel in the mid card or something like that, if you're like Sheamus, or hell, if you even Bray Wyatt, I just want them to go to those guys, to the New Day, to try to hang out with them or either get a pep talk, because they could be like heel pep talk dudes. That would be good stuff. But they're chanting to exercise, that kind of exercise, but exercise the Demon Kane out of Corporate Kane. So that's that segment. We get Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch in the back with JoJo. And they're talking about, basically shooting on Paige. And Paige kind of shows up awkwardly. They're talking, and then she kind of shows up sort of like, never mind. It reminds me of what the hell is his name? Is when Dwight Howard and the coach at the time for the Magic, I can't think of his name, Van Gundy, Jeff Van Gundy, I think is either Jeff or his brother or whatever, but he's talking about the situation with Dwight Howard. This is like 4 years ago, and all of a sudden Dwight Howard kind of shows up awkwardly. It just made the entire situation awkward, because this is him. It's like, well, say it to my face kind of a thing. And this is what happens with Paige, and as Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair are talking about her. And they go back and forth, and it basically turns into this thing, right? Where Charlotte Flair just says, hey, you're either with us or you're against us, right? And then they walk off. Because, again, I still have this thing. Everyone's saying heel turn, or she's not in PCB anymore. I'm like, no, there's nothing that's happened yet. Even Monday, when she walks off, saying that she is not part of that crew, or that she has turned heel. Again, it's inner turmoil. I can never say that word right. Turmoil within that faction, like any other circle of friends or family members, right? It's just a bump in the road because Paige is jealous. She is jealous that Charlotte has the belt. She's jealous that everyone around her is claiming that they started the Divas Revolution, right? She's jealous because she's been put in this spots and she hasn't been able to win the big one after her second reign as champion, right? Natalya is her target. She feels that Natalya's trying to like mother her up and at the same time filling her space. So not only is she jealous, but she still doesn't want to really leave the flock, right? This is what for what she did on Monday by snatching Natalya down because she was going to join PCB. She's like, no, that's still my spot, bitch. Right? So, and then Natty shows up after Lynch and Flair leave and basically get up in her grill. It's like, look, pull some shit like that one more time to disrespect me, I'm whooping your ass. And that's how that segment ends. We end up getting a match between Ryback and Kevin Owens, and I guess this is the Ryback belt, what do you call it? Rematch clause for Ryback, and they use it for SmackDown. And I go, wait. This MSG card has clearly said that Kevin Owens is going to win this fucking match. Right? Because he's actually putting up the Intercontinental belt against Chris Jericho. That has been in stone for this MSG show. So why the fuck do WWE, do you think we're idiots or something? Why are you going to put the cart in front of the horse when dealing with this Intercontinental belt? So on SmackDown, you mean to tell me on SmackDown, we get a rematch, we get an invoking of the rematch clause for Ryback against Kevin Owens, but you're promoting on the network that Kevin Owens is going to face Chris Jericho for the Intercontinental belt. What the fuck are you doing? That makes absolutely no sense. I mean, we get it. We want to see something. You got to entertain the crowd. But you're making us look like a bunch of fucking idiots to believe that this is actually going to be a chance for that belt to exchange hands when you already have. This ain't like, to be announced type shit, whether it's going to be either Ryback or Kevin Owens. They could have actually done that, and that would have made more sense. Like, depending on who wins the SmackDown rematch between Ryback and Kevin Owens, will face Chris Jericho. But no, it just says Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho. And I'll let it go. I just go like, the fuck, man? Where's the quality control? Where is it? It's nowhere to be found, my brother. But it's a good match. I mean, actually, to say this match was definitely better than the one on Night of Champions, I'll tell you that much. It was shorter. You got to see more of Ryback's physical presence because he was just tossing fucking Kevin Owens around like he weighed like 150 and not 275, right? I mean, just tossing him the fuck around right from the gate. And at the very end, he hits him with a meat hook. Somehow they get outside or whatever, and Ryback gets back into the ring. And as Kevin Owens is trying to, it looks like he's going to try to beat the 10 count. But in Kevin Owens fashion, he decides to basically just back it on up, take the 10 count, give Ryback the win, but he still retains the championship. Classic heel form, good stuff. But afterwards, you get a scuffle after the match. Ryback hits another meat hook, and then he puts Kevin Owens in the shell shock. And that's how that ends, with Kevin Owens covering his head as Ryback looks over him, and Kevin Owens is reeling, but he swings and smacks Ryback in the face as Ryback is like, You feel me? I don't know why I'm sneezing so much. I apologize, guys. Maybe I'm allergic to this fucking episode. Next up, we got Neville and the Lucha Dragons versus Cosmic Wasteland, which is Stardust and the Ascension. And there's nothing to do. Okay, Kalisto gets the hot tag, and he hits Celine Del Sol on Connor, and they get the victory. We go from, I don't know what the fuck's happening with this thing, because we get no Barrett showing up to this at all. Barrett makes his return, jacks fucking Neville, jacks fucking Stardust. I think Stardust says something and like a little package about Barrett and the Cosmic Wasteland, you know, like all that shit. But this was just a match. That's all. All right, here's this match. If you're going to give us a storyline, follow through even on SmackDown. If you're going to follow through on every other fucking storyline, you're just going to leave this one to the side. And you're talking about, like, basically, you're talking about a new character just picking up steam that was in a high-profile match during SummerSlam with a television star. You got Neville, who's basically like an up-and-coming guy, and a guy who's going to replace Rey Mysterio. I got nothing really to say about the Ascension. I like them, but like they're just like whatever. They're thugs right now for Stardust. But you're trying to move this thing, and nothing came of it in this match. You just no Barrett to be found, and I knew it as soon as I saw it happen. I was like, they don't even know what they're gonna do with this clusterfuck of a fuck. And this SmackDown match between these two groups just solidified that. What happens Monday? Probably nothing. We get Bray Wyatt with the in-ring promo, and this basically is to set up for the Hell in a Cell match. He's in there cutting a promo on Reigns. Reigns shows up. Now, take in consideration that like the lights are low. Just picture everything. The lights are low. You got the spotlight on Reigns. On the Wyatt family. And then all of a sudden, Reigns shows up. They don't turn on the lights. They just put the spotlight on him. It looked pretty epic. Once you think about it, he comes down to the ring all by himself. Where the fuck is Dean Ambrose? Nobody knows. Where the fuck is Chris Jericho? Nobody fucking knows. Where the fuck is Randy Orton? Nobody fucking knows. But he comes down by himself, walking. And it looked fucking cool as fuck. The only thing that was weird is, like, I think he dapped this one nerd up, this old dude, and he just starts gyrating. That was pretty unnecessary. But other than that, it looked cool. He came down, spotlight on him. It's still dark. Spotlight, he walks into the ring. Bray Wyatt, like, separates the two dudes, Braun Strowman and Luke Harper. It's like, get the fuck to the side. This is between us. And it's a staring contest. And it looked good. I mean, if you watched last Monday and you were impressed by that match, you know, that's great. I was partly. I just go like, well, what the fuck? Okay, we just got two guys beating the shit out of each other. Awesome. I mean, not a lot of wrestling going on. It's just an all-out brawl. Because Mr. Kick, Punch, Slap, Kick, Punch, Clothesline, Kick, Slap doesn't impress me. I don't like seeing him in the ring. But you move to this. And they could have done this on Raw. Honestly, they could have done this on Raw rather than that brawl. But for the Buffalo fans that saw that brawl, they got a good show. And I'm saying it was better live than it was watching on TV, especially when you just don't get much wrestling going on. It's more or less a brawl. Not even strong style. You know, you look at New Japan strong style. Like, I could watch that all day because I know this is what I'm going to get. I'm expecting a little something more out of people from the WWE in terms of wrestling to a certain degree. But it's a staring competition. And then Rollins Reigns gets closer to them, and then they're just staring at each other. The place is going nuts just from just a simple stare. So they just killed themselves on Monday, and we're not saying canned heat here because it could be canned heat coming in, but I'm thinking the intensity of that stare down, I would have probably popped myself. And as Bray Wyatt goes to say something, Roman Reigns just snatched that son of a bitch right out of his hand. And it looks like Strowman and Harper are about to do something, but Bray Wyatt's like, nope, stay down. And he holds the mic some more. It's more of a staring contest. And all Roman Reigns says is, hell in a cell. And he throws the mic. And because the mic is gone, they're still talking. Bray Wyatt says something. And all I'm thinking is, hey, we still going to grab a beer after this? You know? That's what I was thinking. They were just having a conversation about what they were going to do after the show. But that wasn't the case. I wish it was the case. But Bray Wyatt says, I hope you're willing to die. That's what he says without the microphone. And as Roman Reigns steps off, this is what he's yelling at him from the ring. I hope you're willing to die. I hope you're willing to die. I hope you're willing to die. And that's that. My God, I wrote a lot for this fucking... Okay. So we get the main event, right? And the main event is the New Day with Seth Rollins versus the Dudleys and the Demon Kane, right? But the Dudley comes out, and you have, actually, before the Dudleys even come out, Corporate Kane is sitting at ringside with his crutches. And we're all waiting to see how they're going to pull this shit off. If Demon Kane's going to actually come out, someone's dressed up as Demon Kane coming out, and blah, blah, blah. But that's not the case. The music hits after the Dudley Boys, and he doesn't come out. So we end up with a 3-on-2 handicap match between the Dudley Boys, New Day, Kofi, and Big E with Seth Rollins. The New Day continue to hype up Seth Rollins. They just continue to do it during this match. There's a spot where the New Day are dancing outside and they're just sort of jiggling, and Kofi Kingston just breaks out into an all-out twerk. He's doing the nay-nay, and then he just does a full-on twerk. I actually posted that to my Instagram, my Ellen Japanese Instagram, just laughing my ass off. So if you ever see, just go back and watch this match if you haven't. And just for that one spot, just to see Kofi Kingston twerking, it's hilarious. And I'll say this, and I'll move forward. I think there's some people who get, shucking and jiving versus acting a fool and having fun. Anyone who thinks the New Day is shucking and jiving, you're a fucking idiot. Shucking and jiving is our truth. Shucking and jiving is some old bullshit. Now, I don't see the New Day doing anything stereotypical in bad representation of, say, what a black person does or is. I see them as people who are cutting loose, letting go, and having fun. They're still heels to a certain degree, so they have this sense of positivity thing, which is still kind of silly. But the way that they've just been let run wild, just do whatever the fuck they want, honestly. Cutting promos, dancing, trombones and shit, talking a lot of shit. I just don't see any, and I'm someone who reads through that shit. I mean, if I see someone shucking and jiving, I don't even fucking, I can't with that. But this is just so fun. They're just letting loose. And again, this is very much a Attitude Era style gimmick that they have, to where they don't even need to be in the ring to fight. They just be themselves and just do their gimmick. And you're just sitting on every either word or any action. Like The Rock, Stone Cold, they didn't have to wrestle. They would just come in, talk shit, get the fuck out. You got your money's worth. You're getting your money's worth the same way with the New Day. And that's why I'll end it there. Anyone who thinks this is like some jigaboo stereotype, man, like, seriously, that's a bit of a stretch. I felt their opening gimmick when they came in as like a happy-go-lucky group, yeah, that was a little more shucking and jiving than it is now, because they get it. Now they're just being silly right now. Black people can be silly without looking like a stereotype, okay? All right? We can. We're allowed to be silly and not be considered fucking, stereotypes. All right? So just cut that shit out and just enjoy this for what it is. All right. So it gets to a point in the match where Rollins does a suicide dive onto Devon. I don't know how Kane just gets up. I think he does this on purpose. And he catch a lot of the contact from the suicide dive from Seth Rollins. So the doctors come out. He's reeling on the ground, grabbing his arm, grabbing his leg. Like, The doctors and another ref carry him out. And Seth Rollins leaves the ring. He's like, what the fuck, man? Where the fuck you think you going, man? Get your ass back. You better not leave this. Because in his mind, he knows what's up. He knows this is a ploy for him to leave and to come back as a Demon Kane. He knows this. And he's trying to cut it off at the pass, right? But when he's like, you get your ass back to that ring. Kane turns around and just shoots him like a really menacing smile, to where it's like, you know what this is about, right? And the line of the night is from Booker T. And Booker T says, Kane is in so much pain, I think he had to smile it off almost. Oh, that was a great line. I think he's in so much pain, he had to smile it off almost. Well, anyway, he goes behind in the gorilla, and then all of a sudden the Demon Kane comes out. It makes sense, we're not buying into this. Kane and Demon Kane are the same person. Seth Rollins knows this, and it finally hits him. I think Kane is finally admitted that, yes, I've been trying to play mind games. And during all that shit, while Demon Kane and Seth Rollins is going at it, but Demon Kane is just, beating the living shit out of Seth Rollins. Oh yeah, there's still a match going on, and Devon and Bubba Ray hit 3D on Kofi Kingston for the pin. After that, the Dudley Boys are up celebrating. Rollins is somewhere. He's left the belt behind. You think everyone's just in the ring happy. I guess the Dudley Boys are celebrating, and they think Kane is coming in to celebrate because, hell, he was supposed to be the tag team partner. He lifts the belt, but then he choke slams both Dudley Boys individually. He double choke slams simultaneously Kofi and Big E, just drops their asses, and then he tombstone power drives Xavier Woods. And he's left standing tall in the middle of the ring, holding the belt up. And this is to basically move the story towards where it's definite that he wants a title shot at Hell in a Cell. And the only problem I have with this is, like, you got the New Day. You got your tag team champions. All three of them. All three dudes. Well, let's start with the Dudleys. The Dudleys will be facing for the tag team championships today, Saturday, at Madison Square Garden. You have the New Day, who are defending the belts. It's 5 motherfuckers that are belt holders and number 1 contenders. And Old Man Kane just decimated everybody. Just decimated an entire fucking tag team number 1 contender championship division. Just decimates it. And I go, that show does make everyone look fucking weak. Now we get it. Oh, it's Kane. It's Kane. It's Kane. It's the Demon Kane. Fuck that. Fuck that. Those are your world tag team fucking champions. And this is the veteran coming back for that ass, and they got a number one contendership match. And they're going to face this Saturday. Honestly, when I look at this match, I'm like, well, fuck both of y'all. Y'all let one dude just whoop both of y'all ass. Give him the tag team championship. He is the tag team champion. Remember when he was at Daniel Bryan? Remember that shit? I am the tag team champion. No, I'm the tag team champion. No, actually, right now, Kane is the motherfucking tag team champion. Not only is he the tag team champion, he's also the number one contender. He just decimates everybody. And and he has a trombone. He should have picked up the trombone and started playing that motherfucker. And done the old like brr brr brr. Yeah, because I just destroyed any credibility to this tag team fucking division. Nevertheless, I still be entertained by the New Day. And I still, in my predictions, have the Dudley Boys winning in Madison Square Garden and becoming the 10-time world tag team champions. But god damn it, at that expense, it didn't need to happen. But it did happen on SmackDown. That means it didn't happen at all. Alright? So I'm all worked up because I watched the show. But as the old saying goes, if it happens on SmackDown, it didn't really happen. Thank you so much for watching Peter Talks Smackdown and all the sneezes and shit. I would have edited it out, but you know what? I keep it real. Humans sneeze, okay? We fucking sneeze. And you're going to get it in this podcast and video. If you like what you just heard or saw, depending on if this is your first time, if you're on YouTube, my finger is pointing under to where the subscription button is and for you to press that motherfucker. Subscribe to the Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling YouTube page. Also, if you're on iTunes, just hit that favorite. Just favorite us and add us to your playlist. SoundCloud, go and I think my SoundCloud is Ellen Japanese, which is LINJAPANESE. Again, that's LINJAPANESE. So if you go to SoundCloud / Ellen Japanese, that's where these podcasts will be. You also have Stitcher Radio. If you're listening on Stitcher, just subscribe, favorite us, throw us in your playlist. If you're listening on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, yeah. And if you have a Tumblr account too, be sure. I'm finding out that wrestling is strong on Tumblr. I mean, we go hard on Tumblr. The IWC is in full effect on Tumblr. So if you're on Tumblr checking this out, whether it's the SoundCloud link or the YouTube link, just subscribe to the Peter and Dick Talks Wrestling Tumblr page. Comment. Leave a comment. Please. If you hear something I said, you want to comment on that shit, just leave a comment below. Thumbs up. Give us a heart. You know, show some love, y'all. And you can also share. You can hit that share button. Copy the link. Put it on your Facebook. Put it on anything. If you have a SoundCloud account, repost it. You know, if you're a wrestling fan and people know you're a wrestling fan and they trust your judgment and what you consume, whether it's a wrestling product or a podcast and dialogue and discussion, be sure to share it so they can check this shit out too. Again, you have the New Day podcast. Myself and Nathan Newman. We have Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. Peter Talks Smackdown. Peter Talks Wrestling with, if you want to hit me up, at PJTW Central. Again, that's PJTW Central. If you want to just do like an hour and a half worth of just wrestling conversation for the world to see and listen. Peter's Raw recap, depending on what's happening for Monday Night Football, I'll probably watch that. But either way, I'm going to watch Raw and give it. I said I wouldn't give it, but I'm going to give it in anyway. Even if I have to watch Tuesday and then just upload a recap Tuesday. And I noticed that there was a lot of views this week. I got up to like maybe 170, which was really nice. I'm still growing as a podcaster. I'm still growing as a IWC wrestling person, and I have things to say, things on my mind. I don't mind sharing it. So, if you like that, subscribe, comment, thumbs up, heart, like, share. Sharing is caring. And without further ado, I'm at the 45-minute mark, and I'm sorry to keep you for this long to talk about a show that doesn't exist, but I love doing it. And until then, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Have fun watching the MSG show. I'll be watching tomorrow and giving you a review on it tomorrow. And you'll also hear from me on Monday for Peter's Raw recap. Enjoy the college football. Enjoy the NFL tomorrow. And look out. Oh, yeah. Happy October. Watch out for a fucking hurricane. Stay safe out there, guys. And during a hurricane, debris flies. So watch out for the foreign objects, motherfucker. Have a good one.